in a very exclusive environment. So it's done over champagne and caviar, and the hotel partners with it, making the experience very, unique and complete. Also, what I would like to share with you is that how do brands like, Jimmy Choo, Burberry, Canali, why do they partner with hotels? Okay, when you have these brands, for example, in a mall, a customer going into a mall like Emporio would just see these brands by themselves. When you partner with a luxury hotel, you are getting an added advantage of the hotel's database, of the hotel's guests. So not only is it resident, non-resident, but also the hotel's repute standing behind these brands, right? So, for example, we had Jonathan Atherton, who is a celebrity Australian stand-up comedian, and we hosted him in our luxury retail arcade. So what happened was that the brands called their guests and we called our guests, and we had about 450 people, and we had the seating right in front of them, in front of these brands. There's a lot of IIP, you constantly see these brands, plus there was some comedy, dinner. So this is a way that you partner, not only in a way to improve sales, but also keeping in mind what luxury is all about. Alright, so the agenda was that to explain to the Oberoi Gurgaon's luxury offerings, our marketing strategies. I think if I could put together our 5 marketing strategies, one is product. I think we're very, very clear that we want the brands to put their best foot forward. So in terms of maintenance, lighting, window displays, everything is top notch. In terms of processes, we ensure that there's a certain amount of turnaround of stock that goes between the stores. We ensure that we have the highest amount of styles, sizes available with us, so that someone doesn't feel, oh, let me go to Emporio, they have many more brands, I'll probably get much more variety and sizes. That's a perception that we're dealing with, but it's hard to break unless you actually prove it by having more sizes and more styles. The other thing that we also do is we constantly keep innovating. We constantly keep doing new things to push the brands. So for example, if you have a purchase of 50,000 and above, you get a bottle of wine from the Oberoi Gurgaon. Alright? So you go to Emporio, you buy for 50,000, you don't get anything. But if you buy the same amount of value at the Oberoi Gurgaon, you get a bottle of wine. Now this is the partnering which has happened with the hotel. Alright? The hotel doesn't get anything, but it is helping the brand get loyal customers. Yeah? Besides this, we hold a lot of initiatives where we conduct music shows, art events, theatre events in the arcade, so that there's a constant buzz in the arcade. Alright? Unlike Emporio, as I was mentioning to you, we don't have the required amount of footfalls, but we have a smaller amount with a higher conversion rate. Right? Because people who are coming are not necessarily coming just to have a look, but they like something, they've seen it somewhere, okay, the hotel has a store, let me just pick it up. Right? The conversions are much higher. Luxury brands are operations and strategies, hotel and brand partnerships, challenges of the luxury market, and growth opportunities ahead. Okay, so we'll do one at a time. Like I mentioned, this is 50,000 square feet of our luxury retail space overlooking our water body right there. What you see over here on the left side is actually a glass cubicle where we have 2 of them on the other side, which is given out to 2 separate brands. So right now we have Gucci, and the other one that is going to be probably identified in a couple of months would probably be Prada or Hermes. That is Gucci. Do you see it? Yes. On that end? Yeah. So a lot depends upon the brand. How much of merchandise do they have? How much do they want to showcase? So sometimes they want a small store, so they end up taking something like a Jimmy Choo, where they don't want to have 2 levels or too much space. So then you have a small store. But Gucci, on the other hand, has incredible amount of merchandise. They have their entire their moving archive. So you have pieces of gowns, suits, which have been worn by Salma Hayek to name the actress, and they're not for sale, but they're there as part of their merchandise. This is the arcade in its total. Now what you see on this side are the hotel's luxury brands, okay, which is on that end. Are you with me? Yeah. On this end are the hotel's luxury brands. So what was the second thing that we did in our marketing strategy is we opened brands on our end as well to make sure that there was enough to create a luxury experience in the arcade, which meant that one, we opened our souvenir boutique store, right? So if you were someone who was traveling and you wanted to pick up a little Taj Mahal or a little elephant or a pashmina or a cashmere, you'd find it right here. The next thing that we did is we opened our own berry, the Oberoi Patisserie and Delicatessen, which is our cake shop and bakery. I see smiles. So yes, we won the Times Food Award for it very recently in 2012. And what we did is we opened our international salon. Okay, that's the picture there. We have an Italian hairstylist and a French podiatrist. To make it simple, basically they do haircuts really well, and they do really well manicures and pedicures. Okay, so with the partnering of these brands, what happened was, oh, and sorry, one more thing is that we did an art gallery. So what happens is when you walk into the luxury retail arcade, you can make a whole day out of it, right? So you can come, you can get your hair done, get your nails done, get a haircut done, probably pick up your bread and cheese from the patisserie, take a walk into the art gallery, want to pick up some things from the boutique, you can walk down to the retail arcade, have a look at the shopping, have lunch at 361. So what happens is that you engage the customer for the whole day, all right, giving him multiple options to spend his time instead of limiting amount of what he can do in the arcade. This is the Jonathan Atherton show that I was talking to you about, which happened right in the heart of the retail arcade. And by the way, this is about 90% of the people that you see sitting there were actually invited by the brands only. So this was a way, you know, for them to reward their loyal customers by telling them, you know, please come over to the hotel, we're having a special event, we're happy to host you. So that was one. Okay, so this is the Oberoi Patisserie and Delicatessen. I think our concept was very clear from the beginning. We wanted to have a luxury bakery, and I see that at you have to make a presentation, right? Someone's got a luxury bakery to present. Yes. Yes. Okay. So one of our concepts that we did was, again, that we don't have that many people coming to the arcade, so let's take the deli to every table, right? Yes. So we do things like deli at your doorstep, where we deliver within 30 minutes, or it's not free. But we have a lot of clauses to that, because it depends where you stay, what are the weather conditions, how is it going to travel, all those things. Not only that, we believe in aspiring to change the norms. I think with Oberoi Hotels, it's always been that. We serve you the cheapest wine, even cheaper than a cup of coffee. Okay? So our glass of wine retails at 345, and our cup of coffee retails at 375. Right? So we encourage you to drink, and we encourage you to say, let's meet over wine and let's not do coffee. Right? So we do a lot of wine and cheese tasting menus, that's one. Not only that, we do our own gourmet chocolates. So a lot of the things that you see in the bakery and patisserie have a certain way of being branded, have a certain way of being just ours. Right? So when you pick up something from here, you're becoming part of the brand. Our entire branding is in the bright orange. You see the bright orange wall? So our packaging is very vibrant. When you get a box, you know it's come from the Oberoi Patisserie and Delicatessen, Gurgaon. Right? Besides that, I think our pricing is very different. Across all levels, all our pastries are at one price, all our cakes are at one price. Can you tell me why would someone do that? Why would you have all your pastries at one price? Though you would, okay, so you have a chocolate pastry, you have a fruit tart, you have a nut tart, you have different tarts, a black forest cake, but you price them all the same.
So
why?
that I can taste,
So that they can taste all?
Yeah.
Okay, and?
The quality is the same.
Yeah, the quality is the same, but why would you price everything the same? easier
to create a standard.
Yes, it's easier for the consumer. And also what you tell him, you know, what happens is when you have something priced at a certain level, probably at the perceived value of the consumer to being cheaper for him to buy, you'll always have some things which are non-moving, right? To avoid something from being non-moving and to have the customer to experiment and have everything, you have a similar price, right? Also what we did, and we are the first to do it, is that when we have cakes, and our pastries are miniatures of the cakes. So when you want to taste something, and oh, should I really have to buy a 1 kg cake to taste it? You just pick up a small little pastry to start off, and then probably order the cake for your, for your special occasion. Another innovation that we did is luxury cakes. Okay, so we do branded, ornamental, really high-priced cakes, which are beautiful and exquisite. We custom design it. We don't have an album. We don't keep a track of what has been designed, because something which is designed is an original and we don't show it to anyone else. Alright? There's a huge market. I can't imagine and I can't tell you how this is growing. Birthday cakes, wedding cakes, anniversary cakes. There's a huge market for it. And people are willing to spend any amount for you to gather that emotion for them in that cake. Yeah? I hope that's a bit of help for your cake presentation. Yeah? Okay. Not only that, what we also have is that we have this band with us in the arcade. We do a jazz and champagne lounge on the weekends. Okay, so when you're shopping with the luxury brands, on the weekends we have a jazz band and we have a champagne lounge. It's all complimentary. And when you walk in, you can, enjoy the evening, pick up something, and basically we encourage you to spend maximum time in the arcade. Alright? Thereby increasing your comfort level, making you feel, oh, I've come here, people who see you, wish you, recognize you, right? Makes you feel, it takes away that uncomfortable, cold feeling of luxury which everyone used to have, that somehow leaves the space. Alright, so integration of the retail arcade, what we went through was to choose the right brand based on store space, ensure that you have your proper target market in place, ensure that your luxury branding is that which complements the hotel, and that you have someone working constantly on the management of the brand. Visual merchandising with all the activities that I have taken you through. Stock taking, again, I explained to you how it is very important to ensure that you have enough to sell, right? In ensuring guest satisfaction, footfalls, and then the conversion, and finally promotions and events to make it a delightful venture not only for the brand but also for the guest. Any questions? Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Are these brands in five-star hotels, are they placed more for the brand positioning, or are they independently financially viable propositions?
Okay, there are two parts to it. They have to be financially viable to be able to be part of it, for our sake and for their sake, right? We can't have a brand within 6 months not being able to bring in sales and being forced to close down. That doesn't work well for the hotel or for the brand to be leaving the space within 6 months if they don't have enough revenue to pay for the rent. Okay? And the rent is very high. So they have to have that much in mind that they should be able to survive at least the first year, right? Paying rent, paying maintenance, and ensuring that they have certain amount of profitability. The second part is from the hotel's perspective, is we want to partner with brands that will complement our brand, right? So earlier when we thought of a Louis Vuitton, the perception was that it appeals to masses and it appeals to someone who had somewhat an idea of luxury would probably have a Louis Vuitton. We didn't want that. We wanted to break that perception and go one notch higher. So we took a risk with Bottega Veneta, which is a lesser known, but again a very well accepted brand worldwide. Not that much in India. So sometimes you take a risk and you have to play it different. But with Bottega, for example, we took it because we wanted to be part of them as much as they wanted to be part of us. If probably a Bottega is there at Emporio, they have a constant pull with Louis Vuitton, or Gucci. Because someone who would want a Louis Vuitton would think, oh, but Bottega, there's no Bottega written anywhere on the bag. There's no BV anywhere. It's just a crisscross design. So with us, I think they get that exclusivity of this as being the only bag store in India. Yeah. So it's a partnership.
Let me qualify my question. It's actually going back to the financial aspect of it. Is that location by itself, does that turn out to be financial? So when you do your financial analysis,
yes.
Is it a requirement that that location specifically turns out to be financially viable, or do you look for the corporate funding? Because I take it that initially in the first year and a half,
it's all funded.
It's all funded.
It's
right?
all funded.
So those locations in there, how long is the break even before that specific location ends up breaking even? Yeah, that space ends up.
We generally give it 6 months to 1 year. Okay, for it because the brands opened when the hotel opened, it was as new as the hotel, right? So we had to give them 6 months to 1 year. So the brands, what you see on the right side, the smaller brands, we told them that you could probably break even the first year. But we told Gucci, which opened in the last 6 months, that it would be easier for you to break even in the first 3 months, right? But because they are located in the front of the hotel, they are right in front. So where you have the Oberoi Gurgaon, you have the Gucci store. Where you're giving your car for valet, you're standing outside Gucci. Where you're waiting to collect your car, you're standing outside Gucci. When you're passing by the hotel, you're seeing Gucci. So one is that the space is phenomenal in terms of visibility. And two, because they have so much more merchandise and it's a much more appreciated, well accepted and acknowledged brand, they got anyways a far more higher footfall. So for them, it was different. So they I think would break within the first 3 months, which they did.
And just a follow-up question. Is it part of a legal contract that in case they don't make money, that they're required to get the funding from wherever, from the corporate office? Because as you mentioned, it doesn't work with the Oberoi brand for you to have a very high churn in the retail space.
Right.
So you safeguard yourself as through the legal contract where they say that you have to bring in funding?
See, it works in 2 ways. One is a profit sharing way, okay, where the brands and the hotel partner in a profit sharing, where a certain amount of profits are given to the brand, given to the hotel. So in that way, we have to be careful to ensure that they are making some profit for us to be benefiting from it. Some brands are not in the profit sharing, so they are just taking the space. Okay? In any which way, for example, Jimmy Choo, Bottega and Canali come under Genesis Colors. Yeah. So the contract says that irrespective of what happens at the end of the month, in the beginning of the month, you get a 2-day, 3-day leverage to pay up. Yeah. If you default, then of course we don't have them leave because touchwood they are doing well. But yes, these things are very clearly mentioned in the contract that irrespective of how the brand does, you are liable to pay to the hotel at the beginning of the month. Yeah. Because I think it's with luxury, you can't really hold someone and you can say, how come you didn't buy a luxury brand this month? So I think you need to have these very stringent policies very, very clear that irrespective of how the brand does, they pay the hotel in the beginning of the year.
And when you say profit, I think it's GOP that you're talking about?
Yes, the gross operating profit. Yes.
Thank you.
So I have a question regarding the pastry store.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if there is a head of creation.
Yes.
Okay, so he designs the pastry and then he has a team who's really making the pastry, or is it about just him? I mean, just can you give us a precision?
Well, he has a team, and in general hotel operations, you have a kitchen team.
Yeah.
So then it's subdivided into a bakery team, and you have a bakery and patisserie team directly involved in the cakes and the ornamental deliveries and things like that. So they are very skilled and professional because to make these cakes you need to have someone dedicated to spend 6 to 8 hours a day just doing this, right? You can't have the person making bread and croissants and making these cakes. So it's a dedicated team that works
And is he French? Where is he from, the chef?
No, they're all Indian,
Okay.
and they're all from the Oberoi school, and some have experience of 12, 13 years across from the different chains, but all patissiers, all chocolatiers who are skilled in it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Another quick question. Do you have any kind of different links with these brands? For example, you have Gucci, you maybe have Hermes. Could your guests find in his room maybe Hermes care products, something like this?
Yeah. For example, with Gucci, what they wanted us to do is that they gave us a glass panel which was installed in front of the elevators leading to the rooms. Alright? It was just a promotional glass panel saying Gucci was launched in such and such year. These are the things available at the store. Very classy. So what would happen is every time someone was going up to their rooms, they would see this, and when they were leaving, they would see it up. But with Oberoi Hotels, we have very strict policies of ensuring that the customer doesn't feel that we're pushing them to buy something. So we can't have branding of theirs in our rooms. Yeah, that's not possible. Yes, in the public areas, in open spaces, yes, we can have very, very simple, classic approaches, not making them feel that suddenly there's a Bottega sign, suddenly there's a canal. There's nothing like that. It's very, very classy. Thank you.